This is the story of Gustave Eiffel, France's Iron Man, the man who gave Paris its most famous tower and helped America put up the Statue of Liberty. You'd think his legacy would be untouchable, but in the late 1890s, France was ready to toss him in prison. Let's rewind. The Eiffel Tower went up in 1889 for the World's Fair. At 300 meters, it was the tallest structure in the world, but critics hated it. They called it a tragic street lamp, a rusty skeleton, a monstrosity. But Eiffel did not care. He finished it, and suddenly, he was the celebrity engineer, France's engineering rock star.
And that fame, it was a double-edged sword. When people love you, you're a symbol of progress. But when things go wrong, you're the easiest target. The public doesn't want nuance. They want a face. And Eiffel's was everywhere.
So France wanted to copy its success that it had with the Suez Canal. Ferdinand de Lesseps, the hero of Suez, promised he could pull it off in Panama. 800,000 French citizens bought in. Shopkeepers, farmers, widows. They literally poured their life savings into it. But Panama wasn't Egypt. Jungles, mountains, floods, mosquitoes. Over 20,000 workers died. And by 1887, the project was collapsing.
And that's where Eiffel comes in. They bring him in late to design a lock system. Giant water elevators that could lift ships over the terrain. It was smart. It was practical. But here's the thing. The money was already gone. The company was bleeding cash. So when it collapsed in 1889, the public wanted revenge.
Over 1.8 billion francs lost. Families were ruined. Newspapers were screaming betrayal. Politicians were panicking. So who do they prosecute? De Lesseps, his son Charles, and of course, Gustave Eiffel, the guy who only built the locks, had nothing to do with the finances, but he was convicted of fraud, misuse of funds, 2 years in prison, and a 20,000 franc fine.
The truth was absolutely irrelevant. Eiffel was famous. He was rich. Blaming him felt satisfying. He was guilty of being visible, not guilty of corruption.
So he appealed, and in 1895, France's highest court overturned the conviction, cleared his name legally, but as we know today, reputations don't appeal so easily, and the damage was permanent. Eiffel resigned from his own company. He never took another big construction project again.
And instead, he needed to reinvent himself. He turned to science, built one of the world's first wind tunnels, studied air resistance. His research influenced early aviation. Even the Wright brothers. The man went from bridges and towers to airplanes and weather. He was erased, so he needed to reinvent himself.
And here's a little twist of the knife. That very lock system that Eiffel designed was actually the same system that the Americans used when they finally finished the canal in 1914. The idea that ruined him was the one that actually worked.
That's the tragic part. He was right, but he was too early. Erased not by failure, but by timing.
This scandal didn't just sink Eiffel, it implicated more than 500 politicians and ministers. It toppled governments, and it even fueled anti-Semitic conspiracies that later exploded into the Dreyfus Affair, which is a story for another day. Eiffel was just collateral damage.
Which is why his story matters. Because it's just not about one man. It's about how outrage, politics, and fear look for scapegoats. Eiffel survived. His tower survived. But his reputation, it was almost erased forever.
Gustave Eiffel died in 1923 at the age of 91. And by then, the Eiffel Tower had gone from hated eyesore to France's proudest symbol.
Eiffel himself, meanwhile, lived the rest of his life in the shadow of a scandal he didn't cause. It makes you truly wonder, how many reputations are ruined, not by the truth, but by the stories people choose to tell?